Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Read and Reread. I am Angelia, and today, this is my TBR for August. And it feels a little early because I'm filming this on Tuesday, the 23rd, but I'm going out of town tomorrow, so I will not be here to make a Friday read. So I decided instead I'll talk about my August plans because I am a pre-planner and I already kind of have it mapped out. Well, partially. We'll get to that. But just thought I would fill in the Friday read slot with a talk about my upcoming reading plans. And then there are a lot of things. I'll do a big catch-up Friday reads next Friday. The week ahead has a lot going on. They're going to reveal the 6 books that go into the BookTube finals, and I've already filmed a video about my rankings of the videos that I will edit and put up as soon as it's appropriate. And the Booker long list will be announced, and I'm sure I'll have some thoughts about that as well. So there's a lot, and there's some tags. There's some really good tags that I have been tagged in recently that I want to do. So I have all kinds of plans coming up, but today let's just take a look at August reading. So we have a week left of July, and I am currently reading Liliana's Invincible Summer. I don't know if I'm going to finish it tonight, but I don't plan to take this on my trip because it's it's a little bit heavy of a hardcover book. And it's the kind of book I can stop and then come back to it when I get back. But what I'm planning to take with me are a couple of other books. I'm going to take We the Animals by Justin Torres, which is part of my Blackouts continuation of reading Justin Torres' first novel. It's a very slim, light book, and I'm going to read this with Michael Clark. And then also I started reading last night The Stranding by Kate Sawyer. This is the book that I was sent as a gift by Marcia Johansson. And thank you again, Marcia. I started last night. I'm very intrigued, and I'm going to take it with me. Hopefully I will not get too far. If I go crazy tonight and read too much of it and I feel like I don't have enough book left, I do have a backup, another paperback that I could bring, Devil in a Blue Dress by Walter Mosley. Otherwise, this one will go back on the cart to be read soon. So that's what I'm taking with me. Now let's talk about what I actually have planned for August. So I'll come back. There's a few days left, and I don't know. I have some library books. I'm probably going to just fill in something, and you'll have to wait and see, and it'll be a surprise what I do with that little piece of extra time. But for August, here's what I have in mind. First of all, Kiss of the Spider Woman. This is also a part of the Blackouts hangover, that other books that book has prompted me to want to read. And Michael and I read Blackouts together, and we're reading We the Animals together, and Kiss of the Spider Woman too. I'm looking through it, and it looks like almost the entire book is dialogue, but there's a bunch of footnotes in there, and I don't know whose footnotes those. I don't know if it's like a narrator footnotes or the author footnotes, so I'm really curious what all of these extensive footnotes are going to be. But that kind of makes me think of Blackouts too, because it had all kinds of endnotes and interesting little extra things. So anyway, I can't wait to actually get into this novel. Another one, this is a book that I think it was on my July TBR, but something happened. So this is Big Sky by Kate Atkinson. Right when I was about to read it, as my hand reached out to pick it up and start reading it, I found out that The God in the Woods by Liz Moore came in at the library, and I had to go and get it because I can't, there's a line. I can't renew it. I have to read it right away, and I just wanted to. So Big Sky got the bump, but I do need to read it before Kate Atkinson's new Jackson Brody book comes out in September. So it is back on the list. This might be what I read in that extra space that bridges between July and August. So yeah, Big Sky just had to step aside because it's a book that I own and it's a reread. And I read The God in the Woods so fast. It was thick, but it was really fast. And that's all I'm going to say about it right now. But I will talk about it next week on Friday Reads. But I loved it. So yeah, spoiler, I loved it. Okay, but Big Sky, that's coming up. The other reread to get ready for September releases is Olive Again by Elizabeth I just read Olive Kitteridge. I just watched Olive Kitteridge, the 4-part miniseries. Actually, we haven't watched the last part yet. Just watched that for the first time. The book was a reread, and this one is also a reread. If you haven't read Olive Kitteridge, don't look at the flap or anything in this book, because some things are mentioned that are kind of spoilers about characters in Olive's life from the first book. So I don't want to say too much about it, but again, it's connected stories in her town of Crosby, Maine, a seaside town, the same town that Lucy Barton and her ex-husband William stay at during the pandemic in Lucy by the Sea. In the new book, everything's going to intersect together, but this is Olive a little bit later on, a little bit older, dealing with the changes that come along as you grow older. And that's it. I'm going to talk about it when I read it. And this is also a buddy read with my friend Michael. Then, oh, guess what? We're reading one more book together, and it is Lizzie Bright and the Buckminster Boy. This is there's a big glare. There's a thunderstorm. It's dark and glary. It was a dark and glary afternoon. But this book won the Newbery Honor and the Prince Honor. Newbery Honor the Newbery is for excellence in children's writing. The Prince Award is for young adult literature. So I have not read this book. I think it's going to fall in that early young adult, kind of middle school age range, but I'm not entirely sure. But here's the thing. We have an ongoing little series, an informal series of rereading books of interest or significance from our days as children's librarians and reading them again just to enjoy them as adults. This is one I have never read, but Michael has, and he was bringing it up last year when everybody was reading Paul Harding's This Other Eden, which I did read. And I liked This Other Eden, but I didn't, it wasn't my favorite off of the Booker list. I liked it okay. I didn't just totally love it. I thought it was pretty good, just well written, but it didn't blow me away. The incident from American history that is chronicled in This Other Eden was covered much earlier in this children's book, Lizzie Bright and the Buckminster Boy. This is about Malaga Island off the coast of Maine. So I think I'm going to be in Maine again a couple of times here this month. And back in the early 20th century, there was an island that was inhabited by settlers that were descendants of slaves, the former slaves and the descendants of slaves. And they lived peacefully on their island community until 1912, when there was a growing discontent on the mainland and in the state of Maine and in the local townspeople that wanted to claim the property, because all of a sudden they realized that it was ideal tourist property. And so these people were harshly evicted and ousted from their community. And it goes by a different name in the Paul Harding book. I had to look it up because I had never even heard of this incident until I read that book. And then I was shocked about what I read. It was one of those disturbing episodes in American history. But it does go by its real name in this particular book. And many times, especially with historical fiction, children's writers really nail it. Historical fiction, especially, a lot of times books on these kind of topics just really cut to the heart of things in a way that doesn't always land successfully in adult novels. And there's just sometimes the emotional depth sometimes, and people don't always realize this about children and young adult literature, that you can read some of the most beautiful and some of the most heartrending, some of the most uplifting, some of the most devastating things you will ever read are in children's literature. So I, having read that other book and liked it, but found the topic really interesting, but the treatment not that emotionally compelling, even though it sort of had the goods that it could have been that way. I'm really excited to read another pass at that same topic, an earlier pass. So this book's from 2004. Somehow I missed this in my career and We did not have this book in my library, and I didn't read it. I might have read reviews of it and kind of passed on it as a middle school book because I had a K through 5 school. I'm not sure, but I missed out, but now I can remedy that, and I'm looking forward to reading Lizzie Bright and the Buckminster Boy. Now, the next one I have selected, I don't know exactly if I'm going to just read this book cover to cover, but this is my Garbaugust selection. And if you do not know, Garbaugust is an annual event celebrating the joys of trashy reading. And every year I really enjoy the announcement videos and some of the books that people talk about. I really love how the hosts alter their channel names to trash things up. And I even thought of a trashy name for myself, even though I'm not a host. Mine would be Read and Reread the Dirty Parts. That's my Garbaugust name. But I usually don't actually participate. I just haven't wanted to spend that much time on it. I just sort of enjoy it as a spectator. But this year I decided that I was going to pick something that would intersect between trash and banned books. And so I am going to read Captain Underpants and the Sensational Saga of Sir Stinks-a-Lot. This is one of the books in the very long Captain Underpants series, and I want to talk about the joy of trash for all ages and the history of diverting kids away from those kinds of books and the Captain Underpants banning history in particular. And if you're not familiar with Captain Underpants, it is a long-running series of never-ending bathroom jokes, basically. It's about these two kids, and I'll talk about it when we get to it. But there's a particular story about this volume that I want to cover when the time comes. I'm trying to read a nonfiction book each month this year, and I have been successful thus far. And the book that I'm going to read for August is one that I requested from the library a long time ago, and it just came in, and I'm hoping I'll be able to renew it and roll it into August, because it kind of came up at an inopportune moment when I didn't have time to read it yet. But it is Thunderclap, a memoir of art and life and sudden death by Laura Cumming. This was on the women's prize list for nonfiction, and so many people have raved about this book on BookTube, and I asked the library to get a copy. They did, and when you do a request, they automatically put you at number 1 when it comes in. And so I feel like, well, I got to step up and read it now, even though the timing is a little off. Hopefully I can renew it and use it as my August book. If I wasn't going to do that, it would have been perfect for September, because there is an event coming up about art books and books about art. So, but if I read this and love it, then I can recommend it for other people that are looking for that book in September. I don't really know what this book's about. I know it's one of those in the past and now in the present thing. I don't know what the memoir part is about. I know that it's about Karel Fabricius. Is that how you pronounce his name? The painter who painted the Goldfinch, and how he died in 1654 in an explosion. I don't know what the personal memoir part of it is. Okay, wait. It's interwoven with her own journey to becoming an art critic, her father's life as a painter, and her conviction that art is essential to life. Okay, instantly, I know you're going to say, oh, come on. That makes me think of Station 11. It really does, because that little quotation that they paint on their wagons and that whole theme in that book about the art being essential to humanity, and the band of survivors that is performing plays and symphonies. I have loaned the book out to my daughter, but I'll put the little quote up on the screen. That's what I've scheduled to read. Now, as you know, I am currently on a book buying break because I have at least 20 books that I have purchased and not yet read. And so that is what I'm doing with the rest of my month, is reading books on my cart, or books on my shelves, or books from the library that I already have, that I have in mind, I have on my list, and I'm going to go by the moods. I could show you all these books, but I'm not going to, because I'm just going to delve into my pile each week and read what I feel like out of the stash that I have. Because every single one of them I can make a case for why this is the book I should read next, but I don't know what my mood will direct me to, so we're just going to have to wait and see. So these books I know for sure, but alongside them will be about that many other books that you'll just have to wait and see what they are. But that's what I have in mind for August. Let me know what you're most excited about for August. Are you going to read some Booker titles? I'm sure that I will. I'm really excited to see what is on that list, and I hope that I already have some of these books or that the library does. Do you have some other books? Have you bought some things you want to read? Are you going to participate in Garbaugust? What's going on? Let me know in the comments, and I hope that you are having a great week and a wonderful weekend, and I will be back on Tuesday. See you later. Bye.